Now, if you own the Citadel already, you will notice that it comes with this fantastically shitty little manual here. This is probably one of the worst instruction manuals for a weapon I've ever seen in my life. And if you try to figure out how to disassemble your shotgun from this, you're going to be pulling your hair out. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you actually how to disassemble so you can keep this guy nice and clean. And then the second thing I'm going to do is actually address the storage issue, we'll call it here. This shotgun by default has 4+1, so it only holds 4 rounds in the magazine, 1 in the chamber, which, you know, come on, budget revolvers usually hold at least 6. This is kind of crappy. So besides the disassembly here, what we're also going to do is we're going to install the Carlson's magazine extension tube. This one is for the Benelli Nova and Supernova, and this thing fits like a glove. It does require one modification, which is not too hard, so we're going to deal with that. And this will turn this is the 7-shot model. They actually have an 8-shot model as well. The 7-shot model stops about here, and the 8-shot comes about 1/4 inch past the choke tube. I didn't have the 8-shot, but so we're going to use the 7. And if you see the follower is missing from this package, because I actually already have installed this. You can see the nice bright orange follower in there right now. And the reason why I've already done this, well, A, I've already done this. B, these are the followers that actually come with the shotgun. They're cheap plastic, and I've already made it to jam this one in once, just from playing around with it. So you definitely want to replace this follower, regardless of if you install the magazine extension tube or not. I would recommend getting up on MidwayUSA or somewhere and finding a follower that's a little bit better than this little plastic flimsy stuff here. So as I said, I've already actually installed this, but I've uninstalled it just so I can walk you through the process and start with a kind of a default shotgun here configuration. The only other thing I've added to this is a rear sling swivel stud, because as you'll see when you install the magazine extension tube, the bracket up front actually has a front swivel stud. So this is another product from MidwayUSA. This was a whopping $3, and screws right in. You just unscrew the existing screw and screw this one right in. It's a pretty tight fit, but it's not too bad. Alright, so first I'm going to tell you what you're going to need. We'll just go through the disassemble first. So first thing we're going to do here is you're going to unscrew the end cap. Now I've taken my spring out because I've already done this work here to modify it. So we're going to take off the forearm grip. Alright, so we've taken off the forearm, and now we're going to actually do the rest of the disassembly. The hardest part is getting this bolt latch out. It is actually really tight, but there is a trick to it. So if you look here, you will see there's a little notch. Let's turn that right. Okay, and you basically need to line that center of the latch up with that notch, and I have yet to get this to pull out with my fingers. I'm telling you, you're going to need a pair of pliers. And basically, if you hold this, I've kind of already pulled this out a little bit to make this easier, because this actually is a bitch. But then you can put a pair of pliers, wrap it up in a towel, and you can pull out the latch. Now that came out pretty easy. Like I said, I kind of had it prepared here. It will not come out that easy for you. You will pull on it like fucking Hercules. I'm going to put that off to the side, and for now, we can now take off the barrel and the bolt assembly here. So, barrel, and then the plunger here. This part you're going to clean really well and then keep nice and lubed. The bolt, you can see there's a little, turn that the other way, here we go. You can see there's a little catch here, and that has to, when you're putting this back together, you got to make sure that that gets underneath so that it sits flat like this. It's the only way you're going to get back in. And then the rider here on the rails. This stuff, obviously, you got to keep nice and clean, lubed up well. But for the moment, we're just going to put that off to the side. And then we're going to, while we got it apart here, I'm going to show you how to install the Carlson's magazine extension. And like I said, again, this is for the Benelli Supernova, sorry, the Nova and Supernova. This is the 7-shot. There's an 8-shot available, and it will hold 7 shots of 3-inch. 6 actually, in one of the chambers, so 7 total. So the kit comes with the follower, which I said I've already got the follower in here because I've already actually put this kit in. I'm just gonna work through the steps here and show you how to do it again. Then the kit comes with a clamp, which is going to go on the end of the barrel and the magazine to hold them together, and the magazine extension tube itself, and then a big, long, giant spring. Now, what I have found is that the factory spring, I'll show you the difference here, is much shorter. Factory string you see is going to be about maybe 8 inches longer. Let's make sure you can get those seeds in there. So what I have noticed is if you put the long spring in here, you will not fit 6 rounds in this tube. You're going to get it in through the hole all the way up to the brass, and that brass is just not going to go in any further. So I have had no problem continuing to use the factory spring. I'm going to keep this one in reserve for if this one ever has an issue. If you choose to use this spring, you're going to need to cut off about 4 or 5 inches off the end. You're going to have to cut that off and kind of clean the end up really nice in order to actually keep the 6 shells in there. That is the one extra work you'll have to do. But to be honest, I've had no problem so far just using the factory spring. It's working out just fine. Alright, so basically here, when you get this shotgun, it's going to look like this. And there's a roll crimp that actually holds this follower in. And what we got to do is cut that off. Now you can also use a reamer. I don't have one, so I didn't do it. So I used a hacksaw. Actually, it wasn't too hard. So basically what you need for this is a hacksaw. And what I find really well is an old hose clamp. And what this does really nice is you can put this on here and then screw it on down, and it makes a perfectly straight line for you to follow and cut. And it makes it a nice cutting guide. So all you're going to do is put this hose clamp on here, or not. You can freehand it if you want. But bring it down 2 threads so that your saw is just in, actually you can go the thread in half if you find it. Anyways, so you just want to cut off the minimum amount of possible. So latch this puppy down, and then you're going to take your hacksaw, and you're just going to cut off this end piece here. Now there's going to obviously be some burrs there, so you're going to want to take this and file this out. Use some sanding cloth or sandpaper, emery cloth, whatever. Basically, you just got to remember that the inside of this is going to have where your ammunition is going to be feeding through, so you don't want to have any sort of burrs. Basically, if you can run your finger over here and cut yourself, you just need to sand it, file it down a little bit more. Not a big deal. Literally took me 2 minutes. So now we've got the new follower, which I have in there already. I'll take it out. It's not going to come out right now. No biggie. Anyways, we're going to throw that new follower in there. Sorry, this is all lubed up and greasy. We're going to stick the new spring back in there. But first, let's just put this guy back together, because that's all we needed to do at this point in time. We took out the old follower. We dropped in the new one. So now you can see it comes with a nice bright orange one. It's about that long. Keeps it from rolling like this thing, unfortunately, will roll inside the tube. I literally did have it happen to me, so I know it can happen. So, in the meantime, let's get to putting this thing back together, because that's what we're going to have to do in order to finish the install of this. So it's not too bad. You're just going to kind of reverse the process here. You take the barrel, take the bolt and the slide, and make sure, like I said, that it's flat in there, so it's tucked up under that little lip, that prong that sticks out. And if you take this and kind of drop it in here, and you'll see where the notch lines up right here. And just so you know, if this thing comes off, this literally just sits and plops right back into place here. So if you drop this into the notch on the barrel, you can see everything's all nice and lined up. And you can lay that down. Now if you take your barrel here, start sliding this on, line everything up, and then just give it a good sharp whack. Alright, so that's going to go back about to here, and it's obviously not going to go any further. till we drop back in our bolt latch, and we'll pull this back. So what we're going to do is, you can see the hole in there, and you can see the little divot that we have to line up. Same as taking it off, so just pull this back a little bit until that is lined straight in like this. Put this down. And then you'll see the little tab on here. I'm going to drop that in, push that in, it will not do a nice click. That's it, and done. It's a lot easier to put it back in than it is to get it back out, I'll tell you. Alright, so now we've got that in, we can rack that back. Alright, so now we're going to take the grommet here. So if you look on C, you'll see one side has ridges on it and one side of it is flat. You want to make sure that the side with the ridges on it goes on here. Spin it down to the next, spin it down twice, and basically this is what holds the barrel in all the way. So bring that in all the way tight and give it a nice tight screw down. Okay? If you have any barrel movement whatsoever, it's just because your nut's not tight enough. Okay, now we're going to put the four piece back on here. And now you'll see we have just a tad bit shorter of the thread sticking out. And then we're going to take our spring. Like I said, I'm using the spring that came with this. If you're going to use the long spring that came, you're either going to have to deal with 5 rounds in there, or you're going to have to cut about 5 inches off of that spring. So inside this, I put in just one of the end pieces here on the spring that came with it, because this one doesn't move. It's not a big deal. Load that in and screw that on. And as you see, that is a perfect fit. Then on here, we're going to take, this is the bracket that's going to hold this, keep this from moving. Now you don't have to put this on. I like to put it on because, like I said, it comes with a front swivel stud here, sling stud. So what we're going to do, make sure we get it going on the right way, is I'm a righty, so I want the swivel stud on this, the sling stud on this side. So we're going to take this, slide it on, slide it over to your desired position, and tighten this bad boy up. I just use one of these little screwdrivers to go. And then you can use this or a pair of pliers. Make that pretty tight so it's not going to move anywhere. That way now you've got a sling stud mount to go with your $3 one you get on the back. So now you can have one of these. I got this Uncle Mike's sling from, also from MidwayUSA. It was only 20 bucks. Speaking of this sling, it's kind of a strange one. I don't know. It's got snaps and shit on there. If somebody knows how this works, you know, if there's something you're supposed to do with these, drop off me a comment down there. And if somebody has like a video pointing to it, I'm kind of curious, because it came with no instructions or nothing. I'm just using it as a regular sling, no big deal. Anyhow, you have now literally just installed the 7-shot model, and let me grab some shells here. So we're going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is just some Rio double-aught buck, because it's kind of hard to find stuff right now. So now you will see that this, instead of holding the 5 rounds total, it's going to hold 7. So we can go get in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in here, and 1 in the chamber. There. You now have a 7-shot semi-auto shotgun. I have had no problems with this gun cycling anything over about 1200 feet per second. I have not actually tried anything lower. I have read that it can, like most semi-autos, with the low recoil stuff, it can fail to eject. But I said I haven't run into the problem. I've used stuff down to about 1200 feet per second and haven't had an issue yet. Okay, oh, the other thing you can do, just so you know, when you have this apart, if you want to clean out and take out the trigger group, there's this one little pin right here. You can see it. just punch this guy out. Comes out pretty easy, and this trigger group just lifts right out. Just kind of rocks out here, pivots into the end cap here. Okay, now inside you'll see obviously the hammer. The hammer can have some rough edges onto it. If it does, get some emery cloth or some fine, 600 grit carbide sandpaper. Smooth it out. Mine just had a very little bit on one edge. I smoothed it all out just on the sides. Make it real nice and smooth. Lube it up really nice. I tell you, this thing functions. It feeds everything flawless so far. So I've had no complaints with this. I paid this $350 from a local shop. I've seen it online right now, even during the shortage here, for about $2.99. So if you want a decent and the Carlson's magazine extension, that also, which I got from Midway, was like $50, I believe. They didn't have the 8-shot. Took me a while to track down the 8-shot. I might buy it anyways, just for fun. But I found Bass Pro Shops does have the 8-shot. If you have a Bass Pro Shops near you can check to see if it's in stock. If not, they can do a ship to store for you for free, which is kind of nice. So, like I said, $350 I paid for the gun, $50 for the magazine extension tube, $20 for the sling, and $3 for the thing. I mean, I'm at $425 total for a nice 7-shot, 12 gauge semi-auto. So, like I said, if you are thinking about buying the Warthog, it's a great gun. Just so you do know, I'm sure that you probably are aware of this, and if not, I'll let you make sure. Once you cut that off, you're avoiding the warranty of your shotgun. So, even though I haven't had any issues with it, I'm just you just kind of have to hope and pray that you never have any. Personally, like I said, I've had no issues with this. I would obviously test out the gun first, make sure it's functioning before putting it up and doing this, but that's all up to you. And then that's it for today. And the next video I do, once my part gets here, is I'm gonna show you how to install a rear magazine, rear sling mount, loop mount in between the buttstock and the receiver here. Hopefully it gets here within the next couple days, and we're gonna do that. And that's in case you want to do a one-piece sling. But in the meantime, you got this. Like I said, for just over $400, you get everything you see here. Oops, it's on the other side. Whatever, you get the point. So, not too bad. So I hope you got something from this video. If you like this video, just hit that like button. That'd be really cool. I don't put out a lot of videos, so you can subscribe if you wish. I will be putting out maybe a couple more with this shotgun, just with some other different modifications. Other than that, hope you guys learned something, and have a fantastic day.